Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting for the Township of Malahide on September 19th, 2024. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. We'll begin with the approval of the agenda. Anything to remove or add? Deputy Mayor Widner?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to bring up a traffic update if I could. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll put that under new business, under J. Perfect. Thank you. Councilor Wilson.
Yes, I also had a traffic sort of complaint that had come in from a few people on Lions Line, so.
We'll put that under J as well. Thank you. Not seeing anything else. May I have a resolution, please?
That the September 19th, 2024 regular council meeting agenda be approved as presented with the following additions. Section J, new business item, traffic concern and update, and another item for section J, new business item, traffic complaint.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Serna moves. Deputy Mayor Widner seconds. All in favor? That's carried. Next is disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none this evening, we'll move to announcements. Mr. Godby. Do you have the announcement? Sorry. Did I catch you by surprise? I believe we wanted to acknowledge our staff for the rodeo competition. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to council, I think later in our correspondence section, you'll see some correspondence that came through from AORs. No? Okay. Long story short, every year the AORs, the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors, holds various truck rodeos across the province. And what they basically do is it's a test of municipal truck operators. They're a little skill challenge obstacle course, and they do a little test and circle check. And the local area for us, our 4-person Pacey Kixie was our local champion. And as such, he's been invited to go to Peterborough for the provincial rodeo. So he'll be representing Malahide in the provincial truck rodeo that is coming up next week. I believe it's September 25th. Wednesday. So I just wanted to pass that along. It's very nice to see, the talent that some of our staff have and being able to execute the operation of those trucks is something to behold when you can actually sit and watch them going, forward and reverse through an obstacle course and maneuvering the wing. And it's all point based, and there's some very good drivers out there. So it's really great that one of our guys has managed to do this. So we wish him all the best, and we will definitely keep you posted how he made out.
Thank you for that. And I think we'll be posting also the detail of the events next Wednesday. So if anyone, and I don't know, maybe on YouTube, like maybe streamed at the same time. And so it'll be fun to watch. And very proud of having one of our staff representing the area. So good to know.
It's much better than took out the most mailboxes, probably.
Things are good.
So thank you for that announcement. Anyone else? We'll move then to the adoption of minutes. So we have the minutes from September 5th, our regular meeting, and special meeting of September 11th. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, may I have a motion, please?
That the minutes of the regular council meeting held on September 5th, 2024, and the special meeting held on September 11th, 2024 be adopted.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Wilson moves, Councillor Leach seconds. All in favor? That's carried. Next is a public meeting for the zoning bylaw amendment application. So we'll call this meeting to order with the following resolution, please.
That the public meeting relating to the zoning bylaw amendment application of David Blatz relating to property located at Concession N, Gore, Part 16, Concession Gore STR, known municipally as 9962 Hacienda Road, be called to order at 7:05 PM.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Cerna moves, Counselors Lewis seconds, all in favor. That is carried. So as was just mentioned, this is a public meeting as required by the Planning Act to allow any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment relating to the property located at Concession N Gore, Part 16, Concession Gore STR, known municipally as 9962 Hacienda Road. So Clerk Adams, what method of notice and when was the notice given to announce this public meeting?
Notice of the public meeting was advertised in the Amer Express for 2 consecutive weeks on September 4th and September 11th. In addition, affected property owners within 120 meters were sent a notice by mail at minimum 20 days prior to this meeting.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Steele, welcome. Can you provide an overview of the application and let us know if any comments were received? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This zoning bylaw amendment before council tonight is for property as noted for 9962 Hacienda Road. It's currently a vacant property, approximately 1.3 acres in size. Due to setbacks from the adjacent railway to the south, as well as required setbacks to municipal drains located to the north and east, the owner is seeking to purchase land from Catfish Creek Conservation Authority, who is the adjacent landowner, to provide additional lot area to construct a dwelling and accessory building on the property. Application would rezone the lands from institutional and open space to a rural residential site-specific zone, which would include a site-specific provision to permit a dwelling to be constructed 48 meters from the railway, as well as an accessory structure 19 meters from the rail corridor, whereas the zoning bylaw would require a minimum setback of 75 meters. The provincial policy statement, county and local official plans all contain policies regarding incompatibility of land uses. And so being adjacent to the rail corridor, a noise and vibration study was required as part of a submission and determined that no negative impacts on any future residential dwelling located on the property would occur, provided certain mitigation measures were implemented. And this includes certain architectural and design features, as well as warning clauses being included on any future purchase and sale agreement. And these would be implemented as part of a potential condition of the forthcoming severance application for the lot addition, which would require a development agreement to be registered on title and ensure that these measures are implemented. Additionally, since the development is located adjacent to a significant woodland, an environmental impact study was also required and conclude that there'd be no negative impacts from the proposed change to a residential use on the adjacent features, again, subject to mitigation measures being implemented for tree removal at certain times of the year. And again, these would be addressed through any future or through a future development agreement with the landowner. Additionally, a lot of adjustments are permitted in prime agriculture areas for legal or technical reasons. In this case, to actually create a sort of viable building lot and ensure that there is adequate area to locate a dwelling on the property, whereas previously there would be constraints due to, again, the aforementioned setbacks required for a rail corridor as well as municipal drains. CN Rail has provided comments on the application, saying they have no objections to the proposal. One comment was received since the posting of the agenda from a neighboring property owner, which I will read for council now. This letter is to inform you that the members of the Aylmer Pheasant Club do not have any issues with the zoning change at 9962 Hacienda Road. We would like to point out, however, that the property to the south, 9826 Hacienda Road, does have a license to release and hunt game birds 365 days a year, and this game bird preserve has been active since 1985. There's concern that there may be a complaint regarding discharge of firearms, and we'd like the owner of 9962 Hacienda to be aware of this action that has taken place since 1985. No additional comments have been received, and so staff are recommending that Township Council approve the application and that the final passing of the bylaw be deferred until conditional approval is obtained for the forthcoming consent application for the lot addition. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take questions from members of council.
Thank you for that. I'll start with first with Clerk Adams. Have you received any additional written submissions on this proposal?
No additional comments have been received.
Thank you. So I'll open it up to anyone in attendance. Mr. Rowe?
I am now on. Yeah, good evening. Dave Rowe, the agent. I've been working with the owner now, it seems, for quite a while, but we did have a pandemic and other things. We were able to get a noise vibration attenuation report done and indicated that we are able to site a house on the property with proper setbacks. We also had an environmental impact report done and then a further update even this summer, which indicates that there's no negative impact on the surrounding environmental open space area that is belongs to the Conservation Authority. We're pleased with the assistance that we received from your planning staff, very helpful. And as far as the comments from the hunting club, the owner is a hunter himself and certainly doesn't have any issues with that. So I'm here to answer any questions, and it is a pleasure to be here in person as opposed to on the screen. So
Thank you. It is nice to have this discussion in person when possible. So thank you for those remarks. I'll open it up to members of council for questions. Councillor Leach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have one question for you, Mr. Rowe. The location of the driveway, is that in the existing driveway entrance currently? Is that going to pose a problem with like future rail development or?
no, I think he's going to maintain the existing driveway, and there certainly weren't any concerns from the railway. Thanks.
Any further questions or comments? Councillor Serna?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is that rail line even being used?
I have an answer.
Mr. Rowe?
This is part of the story. We were told initially that the railway line was going to be abandoned and that we wouldn't then have to deal with any setbacks. But railways are notoriously slow at making decisions. And by the time things moved along, the railway decided that they would maintain it and keep it open. And I understand there's 1 or 2 trains weekly apparently using it. So how it ties into the other lines, I'm not totally sure, but apparently it is being used. But we were at one point hoping that they were just going to abandon it, which would have made our life a bit easier, but obviously not. One less study, exactly.
Thank you for that. Councillor Glinsky.
Madam Mayor, to Mr. Rowe, what are can you clarify certain mitigating measures were implemented into the design of the dwelling to overcome the noise?
Yeah, what's again is pretty standard with the railways. They require certain levels of insulation. They require central air conditioning, certain type of windows that reduce the amount of noise, plus a warning on title for future owners saying that there's a railway track and that it may occasionally be bothered by it. Again, it's been pretty standard procedure for as long as I've been doing planning, so which is a while.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing anything? Thank you again, Mr. Rowe. So if there's no further discussion, please be advised that any person wishing further information regarding the passing of the proposed bylaw amendment should contact the clerk. So we can proceed with the adjournment.
That the public meeting relating to the zoning bylaw amendment application of David Blatz relating to the property located at Concession N Gore Part 16 Concession Gore STR known municipally as 9962 Hacienda Road be adjourned at 7:15 p.m.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Wilson moves, Councillor Leach seconds. All in favor? That is carried. And we'll proceed with the resolution to consider thank you, have a nice evening. And I will consider the planner's report with the following resolution.
The report number DS 2442 entitled Zoning Bylaw Amendment Application of David Blatz relating to the property located at Concession N Gore, Part 16, Concession Gore STR 9962 Hacienda Road be received, and that the zoning bylaw amendment application number D14Z0724 of David Blatz relating to the property located at Concession N Gore, Part 16, Concession Gore STR and known municipally as 9962 Hacienda Road be approved for the reasons set out in this report, and that the final passing of the bylaw be deferred until the subsequent consent application receives approval from the County Land Division Committee.
Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Leach moves, Counselor Serna seconds, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, next on the agenda, we have no delegation, so approval of business, the consent agenda. We have the report from the community grants policy update. So at our last meeting, the committee of the whole had a fulsome discussions, and this is ready for approval unless there are further comments or questions. Seeing none, we'll proceed with the resolution, please.
That all items listed under approval of business from the September 5th, 2024 council agenda be approved and the recommendations listed in Part A therein be adopted.
Mover and seconder, Counselor Lewis moves, Counselor Serna seconds, all in favor? That's carried. We move now to new business. The first item on the agenda is the application for consent to sever. Mr. Steele. Over to you.
Thank you. This consent application is for property located at 53004 Vienna Line. The owners of this property own multiple farm parcels, and one of the dwellings on the property have become surplus as a result of farm consolidation. And so they're seeking to sever it from the remaining or the balance of the farm agricultural lands. Staff have reviewed the application against the applicable surplus farm dwelling servants criteria and find that it meets all those that apply. And so staff will recommend the application be supported by Township Council, and that the recommended conditions be forwarded to Land Division Committee for its consideration. And that concludes my presentation. I have questions from members of council.
Thank you. Questions or comments on this application? Not seeing any questions or comments, so we'll proceed with the motion.
The report number DS 2443 entitled Application for Consent to Sever number D10E7124 of David Thiessen and Elizabeth Thiessen be received, and that the application for consent to sever of David Thiessen and Elizabeth Thiessen on behalf of David Thiessen and Elizabeth Thiessen relating to the property located at Lot 34, Concession 3, and known municipally as 53004 Vienna Line be supported for the reasons set out in this report, and that this report be forwarded to the Land Division Committee for its review and consideration.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Lewis moves, Counselor Glinski seconds. All in favor? That is carried. Next, we have another application for consent to sever. Mr. Steele, back to you.
Former railway parcel located in Springfield and approximately 23 acres in size, which extends from Springfield Road on the eastern side all the way across to Hacienda Road. Lands have multiple zones applied to them, including agricultural zoning, industrial M1 zoning, as well as a small portion that is currently zoned Village Residential 1. The owner is proposing to convey approximately 1.2 hectares of land that's currently zoned general industrial to an adjacent parcel that is also currently zoned for industrial purposes. And the retained parcel would have an area of approximately 8.2 hectares in size and would still have frontage on Hacienda Road. The county official plan permits boundary adjustments prior that no new lot is created, and that will not affect the viability of the properties to continue to be used for permitted uses. No new building lot is proposed to be created as a result of the severance, and the retained parcel lands all would retain their existing zoning that applies under the township's zoning bylaw. Portions of the property are designated as flood fringe, which is part of the floodplain regulated area that is regulated by the Conservation Authority. Planning staff have consulted with Conservation Authority, and they've noted no concerns with the proposed lot addition. And staff note that portions of property would remain outside of that designation, which may be used potentially for a future industrial development on the property. As previously noted, there's no change to the existing zones, and the proposed severed and retained parcels will continue to comply with all of the minimum lot area and frontage requirements of the zoning bylaw. And so staff recommend the application be supported and that the recommended conditions be forwarded to Land Division Committee for its consideration. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to questions from members of council.
Thank you. Questions, comments on this application? Deputy Mayor Widner?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Through to Eric. Eric, any potential environmental concerns, they'd be dealt with at the permit process, I presume, because this one property's been to council before years ago and there was a concern and then it was turned away. So I just want to make sure it's dealt with then.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Deputy Mayor. So yes, the lands being as a former rail corridor would be subject to environmental site assessment. In this case, since the lands proposed to be conveyed are currently zoned industrial and are being merged with an industrial zone parcel as well, that environmental site assessment wouldn't typically be required, as typically it's required in cases where you're going from a less sensitive to more sensitive use. So for example, industrial to a residential or an institutional use. So in this case, it wouldn't be required. If the lands were ever to be rezoned to say residential in the future, at that time, staff would require an environmental site assessment to be completed as part of the complete application submission. And additionally, if the lands retained were proposed to be developed, again, that for some form of residential or institutional use, and would be looking for that type of work to be done to ensure that any kind of future dwelling or residential use would not be subject to negative impacts from contamination.
Thank you for that clarification. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, may I have a motion, please?
The report number DS 2441 entitled Application for Consent to Sever number D10 E1124 of 181711 Ontario Inc., BNS Carroll, authorized agent Civic Planning Solutions Inc., David Rowe, be received. That the application for consent to sever number D10 E11-24 of 181711 Ontario Inc., BNS Carroll, authorized agent Civic Planning Solutions Inc., Code David Road, relating to the property located at part of Mill Street, part of James Street, part of Lot 7 and 8, west of East Street, and part of Lot 8 Mill Street, Township of Malahide, be supported for the reasons set out in this report, and that this report be forwarded to the Land Division Committee for its review and consideration.
Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Widner moves, Councilor Wilson seconds. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Mr. Steele. I think that was your last report this evening. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next report is from Director Godby. This is regarding the truck replacement.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to council. Staff report PW 2435 is for a half-ton pickup truck replacement. We're looking to enter an agreement with Forbes Motors to purchase one truck to replace our current roads and construction manager's pickup. We issued this tender to 48 local suppliers and posted it online. We received a total of 15 different bids from 10 different suppliers. The low bid has been submitted by Forbes Motors out of Waterloo, Ontario, and that is where we're recommending that we make the purchase from. I would just note that this is not the lowest of all bid prices. This the low is actually from Forbes, but the major difference being that they provided us two options. One was a 4-cylinder 2.7 liter Turbo Max engine, and the other is a 8-cylinder 5.3 liter Ecotec engine. After discussing this with Councillor Lewis and Deputy Mayor Widner as part of the equipment committee, We've all agreed that we believe the 5.3 V8 is probably the most beneficial engine for us to have in this machine. So that is the recommendation that we're having. Additionally to that, we have also included in here looking at accepting the purchase of additional warranty terms. The standard warranty is 3 years, 60,000 kilometers, 5 years, 100,000 on the powertrain. But for an additional $3,400, we can basically extend that out to a full 6-year or 160,000 kilometer warranty. With that, if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Counselor Leach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through to Director Godby. So this is from Waterloo. Is there, does it have to be serviced in Waterloo?
Through the chair to Councillor Leach, it's a good question. No, it does not. When you buy anything new from a dealership like this, you can take it to any of the other local dealerships. They recognize, as long as it's done at a Chevy dealership, you're all good with that. So we will take it to our local close dealer that can get us in when we need to have any of that kind of work done.
Thank you for that question. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the motion.
The report number PW 2435 entitled Half-Ton Pickup Truck Replacement be received and that staff be authorized to enter into an agreement with Forbes Motors, Inc. for the purchase of 1 half-ton pickup truck.
Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Widner moves. Counselor Lewis seconds. All in favor? That is carried. The next report, back to you, Director Godby, regarding the off-road vehicles bylaw.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to council, PW 2436 is a request to update the designated highways portion of our off-road vehicle bylaw. In August of 2024, we received a request from the Talbot Trail ATV Club to add approximately 1,400 meters of Vienna line to their existing approved area. Apparently they're going to be doing some, or have the option to do some more riding east of Sawmill Road. So they're hoping that they can extend their permission to ride on the road in order to access these lands on the north side of Vienna Road. I believe via email, you guys were provided with a quick sketch map showing the change that they're looking to have. However, if you do look at page 49 of your council package, you will see the tabular listing of the approved areas that are looking to be passed by this bylaw. If you have any questions, I will gladly answer.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Counselor Cerna?
Just one comment. Never had a problem with these people in all the years I've ever had dealings with them. So wherever they want to ride, let them ride because they're an excellent bunch. So that's all I have to say.
Yes, I concur. We really appreciate their proactive and really professional approach, collaborative and good communication. I think it's a good model for other municipalities. So yes, let's keep that up and we appreciate it. If there are no further comments, then the motion, please.
The report number PW 2436 entitled Off-Road Vehicles Bylaw Designated Highways Amendment be received and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute an amending bylaw for the purpose of updating the designated highways in the off-road vehicles bylaw as outlined in this report.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Glinski moves, Counselor Cerna seconds. All in favor? That is carried. So next we'll move to Deputy Mayor Widner.
Yes,
Go
thank you, Mayor. I've recently been working with the county engineering department, Peter Ducek, to find a solution to the unlawful passing in the turning lanes north of Elmer. The lines painted do show no passing, but they're being ignored. The county did do a traffic study and speed study. There's like 6,600 cars a day and the speed is not that far out of whack. It's actually not bad. Last week, a resident was in the turning lane, stopped to turn into their driveway. Another car entered the turning lane and in the process sideswiped the car that lady was in, then took off. So it was hit and run. And this goes on all the time. I've been receiving and noticing firsthand dangerous passing in that lane. It's really frustrating as the intent of that lane was to increase resident and business safety. But a few scofflaws are creating a real hazard. One of Elgin's biggest tourist destinations is Clovermead, is on that stretch of road. And knowing the amount of young families and children, I'm really concerned there's going to be a problem. Recently, I was passed by a local politician's spouse going way too fast. So I called them on it. And I'm sure that the chewing out that they got from the other spouse was probably enough to deter that from happening again. Tailgating is also getting to be out of hand with some repeating the distances in between, the same as the old Paul Rydell Imperial Hell Driver stunt show at the Elmer Fair. For those of the age who remember that, but probably nobody here does. Yeah, I'll get good for you. But today I was notified that the increased signage will be put up with the county and with Malahide Township to actually say no passing, and maybe this will help to stop this dangerous situation. I want to thank Peter and the county staff for searching out and finding a solution. Hopefully it works. Thank you.
Thank you for this update. Yes, it's a challenge. Any comments on this update? Councillor Cerna?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I think last meeting we had, Deputy Mayor and I were talking about this exact thing. And on the way home, don't I get passed by somebody in that passing lane or in the turning lane? And it was funny, but if people are internet savvy, if you go on there every once in a while, you'll see an advertisement for a thing you can put on your window. It's electric or electronic, and it has a hand that waves, and it also will change, and it'll give you the finger. So if somebody's tailgating or passing you wrong, you can switch it. So when they're doing that, if they're tailgating, you can take, and it'll give them the finger. And I don't know what it costs, $39, I think. And it's an excellent idea. And I think everybody should get one. And that would help solve the traffic problems. So I urge everybody to get on the internet and find that site, and it would really help a lot. Thank you.
Desperate, what is it? Desperate situation call for desperate measures. We're willing to try everything because, yeah, it is, I don't know. Clearly, we're at a loss.
The tune is Freebird.
I bet you, I'll bet anybody $100. My brother's probably watching this and he's already looking up the site. So give me a call. I'm up till 10 and I can give you the website.
Are you affiliated with this company? Do you need to declare any conflict of interest? Thank you for that. And thank you, Deputy Mayor. Next, Councillor Wilson also had a concern, another traffic concern, perhaps with a solution. Councillor Wilson.
Through you, Madam Mayor. It's basically the dump truck traffic again. Last council meeting, it was stuff coming through Kingsmill. This time it's on Lions Line, and it's the same sort of issues. They're wondering if they could apply calcium to the shoulders to stop all the dust that the dump trucks are stirring up when they're driving past, and their pups are coming off the road. And basically they'd like to turn off their AC, but if you leave the windows open, everything in the house gets covered in dust from all the dump trucks not actually staying on the road. the shoulder riding. So anyway, it's along the same concerns as the last meeting. It's just a lot of increased dump truck traffic heading to the battery plant, and I guess they'll take whatever roads are fastest and well paved.
Mr. Garvey, did you want to comment on that? Is that something staff want to look into?
Yeah, I'm actually, sorry, through you, Madam Mayor. I'm typing up something right now to the county just to see make sure that they're aware of it and make sure that if there's anything they can do, it's their capital project. I mean, the road is beautiful, but the speed will definitely see an increase. And hopefully they might be able to do something with the shouldering there to at least help. But I'll pass it on to them and we can go from there. I'll keep you in the loop.
Thank you, Mr. Garvey. Thank you, Councillor Wilson, for bringing this to staff's attention. Okay, so I think that's all for new business. So we can move to bylaws. Anything in the bylaws that needed to be pulled out or required further discussions? Those are all items that were considered at earlier meetings. So seeing no comments or questions, we'll proceed with the resolution, please.
That the following bylaws be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Bylaw 2450 to amend the schedule of off-road vehicle bylaw, 2452 closed road allowance bylaw with INS Peters, 2453 closed road allowance bylaw with A&J Peters, 2454 closed road allowance bylaw with Simmer, 2455 closed road allowance bylaw 2455892 Ontario Limited, and that the following bylaws be now read a first and second time. Bylaw 2449 with the Blatz rezoning.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Serna moves, Councillor Wilson seconds. All in favor? That is carried. So we're now ready to move into committee of the whole with the resolution, please.
Resolved that we do now move into the committee of the whole.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Leach moves. Just need a seconder to move into committee of the whole. Councillor Lewis seconds. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, so for our committee meeting this evening, we have the first report, from Chief Spoor, the Emergency Services Quarterly Activity Report, April to June. Mr. Spoor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight's report is just a overview of the activity of the fire service from April to June. Just a quick overview for you that 91 incidents in this quarter, a slight increase from the year prior. We had 7 fire events with $158,000 in losses and $93,500 saved. This is all saved through timely interventions by the fire service, so great job for them. Our fire prevention and public education, we went through various safety messages, including installing the smoke alarms and checking for electrical hazards. The fire prevention team participated in 6 community events, including 2 Elgin Farm Safety Days, the St. Thomas Elgin Home Show, fireworks in Port Bruce, and Springfield Fun Day. The training and development, on training firefighter development side of things, we had our new recruits graduate in June. So they're all up to speed. They've got their 1001 and 1002 certifications and hazmat and their medical training. So they're all ready to go. We also hosted the first in the province, the new NFPA 1006 rope rescue operations course. So they did OFM did our pilot program there. So some of our members are already first in line from the province to have that training. So, which we all require by anybody that's doing that type of work will be required by 2028 to have. So we're getting ahead of it. We also participated in the MLFTU, which is the Mobile Live Training Unit the Fire Marshal's office purchased 2 years ago. So we were able to use that at the police college for the whole county. Actually had days to do it. It was here for a week, and we used it as well for 2 days, and which gave us real life fire scenarios in a safe manner. So our fire services recoveries are $50,282 for the quarter. This is derived from a variety of services, including motor vehicle collisions, and training. 18 MVCs were responded to, bringing the year to date to 25. We're currently at 37 now already, so. A little bit of a third quarter preview, so we've had our first of our 2 open houses for the year. And we have one in the South Station, August 24th, and then we have another one this Saturday in the Lion Station. On this Saturday from 10 till 2. Another key events we're going to start off with next Tuesday. The mayor has been invited and will extend the invitation to any other council members that wish to join us at 1 o'clock at South Station. We're doing a news release, having CTV News will be there, and other local news outlets. We'll be announcing our kickoff for our Saved by the Beep campaign again, which is Saturday, the following Saturday on the 28th. But we're also going to have a special guest from Kitty there, they're a manufacturer of smoke alarms, and they've selected 2 municipalities in the province this year to donate fire alarms to. One being a large urban center, which was city of Brampton, and the other would be in us as Malahide. So they've donated 2 skids of smoke alarms for us, about $20,000 worth, and we'll use them as they give out to our thing. So that's an announcement they'll be making at this as well. And we'll have some openings, discussions and stuff about the smoke alarms. Good news is we had a fire last week in Malahide, in a kitchen fire, and the family wasn't alerted by the smoke alarms going off. So we've had 2 in the last week that their smoke alarms worked. So it's working. We just had to get at it. So unfortunately today they had a fatal fire in London. So I don't know about the smoke alarms there yet. So fire protection grant, we've had to put an application in for that for this year as well. So there hasn't been any grant money provided by the province to lower tier municipalities for some years. The last we've had was a jet grant, which we bought the emergency command trailer, and that was back in 2009. So there's been no money coming from the province at all. This is our first of 3 years of this grant. So it's not a great big grant if you consider the whole province, but it is something. So what we've applied for is they're focused on cancer prevention in firefighters. So we've applied for, we have one extractor in the township right now. It's right in this station here. And firefighters have to bring from the other stations, have to bring their gear here to wash. So we've put an application in for the installation cost and the purchase of 2 more extractors. So 1 for each station. So they'll all have one. And the announcement of that will be coming out shortly. So we did have a town hall meeting with the OAFC today, and they said that 90% of the departments in the province put in for the grant. So the money is going to be welcome. And this is hopefully our first step through the Association of Fire Chiefs to secure more funding coming back from the province. So that's that. And if you have any other questions for the report, I'm here to answer.
Great report. Thank you. And great news for being selected for the free fire alarms. Any other comments? So we'll look forward to, there'll be other social media announcements, I think, related to that award. Deputy Mayor Widner.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have a question for Chief Spoor. Looking back at your April sentence there, give them room, pull over for green flashing lights. Do we have a problem with people not pulling over?
Overall, it's usually the local people are pretty good. It's sometimes you get the people that aren't familiar with the volunteer firefighters and stuff. That's why they've had the big push that we put up signs several years ago. So it does help, and it's a little bit more visible. Overall, I think that most people do pull over. So we have a little trouble sometimes with people pulling over for the red lights with the siren still. So it's surprising. Yeah.
Everything else.
So again, comprehensive report. Didn't realize, it feels like ages ago with the eclipse but that was also great work at the time. So any further questions or comments? None? Well, you have a motion to receive that? Yep.
The report number F 2406 entitled Emergency Service Quarterly Activity Report, April to June, be received.
Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Cerna moves, Counselor Glinski seconds. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you again, Mr. Spoor. We'll turn it over to Ms. Boylan for the report on garbage tags.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to request a minor change to the township's bag tag program. So the request is to remove the expiration date from all the township's garbage tags. Currently, they expire in the year that they're purchased, so this would remove that policy from the township. The reason we're bringing this forward is because we have received some complaints from residents over the years about how around this time of year, they're starting to run out of bag tags. They have to decide how much to purchase to get them through the rest of the year, but then they're finding that often the tags expire and then they're left paying for a service that they're not receiving. So we think this minor policy change will rectify that situation, and we'll see how we don't expect any major financial impacts from it. So, but we will monitor how the policy change goes next year if approved by council tonight.
Thank you for that. So again, this is a proposal, so that's why we're in committee of the whole, so we can have an open discussion, debate, have time to sit on it, to circulate it in the public for if there are any additional comments or suggestions. For now, I'll open it up to comments from members of council. Councillor Leach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To Director Boylan. Does this impact our relationship with our collection partner?
Our contractor, Miller Waste, would operate business as usual. If there's a tag on the bag, they pick it up. If there's no tag, they won't pick up the bag. So to them, there'll be no difference.
Thank you. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are very happy they don't have extra tags hanging out in their drawer that they have to throw out.
I could almost say a benefit to our contractor wouldn't have to monitor if it's the right year, the right color. So in fact, if they see a tag, so almost more efficient. So they might actually welcome that as well. Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, I think the last time this conversation came up, there was also talk of leftovers being dropped off at the office and other constituents being able to go in and pick up, because I do get quite a few complaints of large families and lots of kids. And yeah, they run out of tags well before their time's up, and they're talking to relatives that have no kids and they're trying to source out tags. And so I still think that would also be benefit if there's any way staff could amalgamate that into this change, that there is something at the office or somewhere that leftovers people that have can just turn in, because if they didn't use them up in the year they've got them, and you'll give them another whack more, well, they're going to end up right where we're trying. So if there's any way of turning into the municipality what they have left over, the ones that don't use it, and make that random for the ones that need it to be able to come in and source from that pool. If there is a pool there when they come in, I don't know, an idea or.
The concept of leave some, take some. Is that something that staff would consider, Mr. Boylan, like incorporating it in the policy itself, or maybe having as an informal measure? Any comments?
It's kind of in contradiction to the policy change tonight, because if we remove the expiration date, then presumably people won't have extra tags because they'll just use them next year. So I hear what you're saying. That's definitely a problem. We sold, I think it was 13,000 tags last year. People run out around June, maybe even May. Sometimes we start getting residents coming and picking up tags. So the current package we send out is 60 tags for the whole year. That's about a bag per week, a little over a bag per week. A lot of families just cannot, like me personally, I have a baby at home with diapers. Like there's no way I could do one bag per week. So I sympathize, but right now that's how our program works. If you go over a bag a week, you come in, purchase additional tags for $1.50 right now per tag.
I could see eventually, to your point, Councillor Lewis, that you could accumulate even more because there is no expiry date. So perhaps, I think right now there's already an informal exchange happening in the community, which I think we're a close-knit community, a rural community. We support each other. So perhaps we can continue to encourage that sort of informal support rather than trying to, because we're trying to reduce the administrative burden in the office and people having to manage that. So, but yeah, I think this this adds flexibility. So I think lots of positive. Councillor Leach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So going back to your point that people run out in like June, how much uptake is there on the recycling side of the garbage program? Is it being well utilized? Do we have any numbers on that?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Leach. That is a good question. I don't have firm numbers. We do get those reports, and I can definitely look at bringing some of that information back. The last time I did look at any of it, it's pretty stable. It seems to be that people's habits about round recycling are either, they don't change a lot. People who are hard on wanting to recycle everything, they continue to do it and they do it great. Those who don't seem to have the interest or the care to do it properly, they just don't change. It's one of those things that's probably best addressed through some of the education and outreach programs that we do have. And I guess this is a great segue for me to just advise council that our last waste management master plan was done in 2020. It recommended a renewal period of 5 years or any substantive change. We've kind of had both with the transition to full producer responsibility on the recycling side. And we're hitting that 5-year threshold. So it's going to be our hope to bring something to council come the budget to be looking at doing that, going through that process of updating that master plan through 2025. And that's where we can take a deeper dive into those numbers and maybe some of these other community outreach programs. So more to come. And at this point, we definitely would appreciate this one minor improvement to help the people out.
Right. Yeah, that would be a good time to look into actual data and diversion rates. And yeah, I suspect that it hasn't moved much, but worth looking at. So any further discussion? Again, we have time to reflect on that and we'll bring it back for final decision in a couple of weeks. So again, if constituents have comments, they're welcome to communicate with staff or with council. So for now, we'll receive the report.
The report number FIN 2425 entitled Expiration of Garbage Bag Tags be received, and that the Committee of the Whole recommend to Council the removal of the garbage bag tag expiration dates effective January 1st, 2025, allowing residents to use previously purchased and future bag tags without time constraints.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Serna moves. Councillor Leach seconds. All in favor? That's carried. Next, we have correspondence. We have 6 items. Any discussion? Any comments? Councillor Wilson?
Through you, Madam Mayor, item 6, I question the logic of anyone that comes up with since the Elmer Cemetery is in Malahide, the residents of Elmer don't have any benefits of it. I don't know who would come up with such a policy, and it's laughable. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment. No action on any of the items, so we'll just receive with a motion.
Resolve that items 0.1 to 0.6 be received and filed.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lewis seconds, Councillor Glinsky. Councillor Lewis moves, Councillor Glinsky seconds. All in favor? That is carried. Just checking if you're paying attention. And so with that, we're ready to adjourn the Committee of the Whole.
Resolved that we do now move out of committee of the whole and reconvene the regular council meeting.
Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Leach moves. Deputy Mayor Whitner seconds. All in favor? That is carried. We have no items under closed session, so we can go to confirmatory bylaw.
The bylaw number 2451 being a confirmatory bylaw be given first, second, and third reading and properly signed and sealed.
Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Surna moves. Counselor Leach seconds. All in favor? That is carried. Which takes us to adjournment.
The council adjourned its meeting at 7:56 PM to meet again on October 3rd, 2024 at 7 PM.
Deputy Mayor moves. Counselor Surna seconds. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening.